Well, welcome to Dreadnought Mondays. I'm Kenny Ingersoll, and it's here today with Erica. Erica, thank you for taking the time to be with us today. Appreciate it. If you wouldn't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Kenny, for having me on. My name is Erica Barney. I am from Idaho Falls, Idaho, but I currently live in West Jordan, Utah. And I am an independent business owner. I've owned my own business for about 3.5 years. And I'm a mom, I'm a gram, I'm a wife, and I'm a business owner. And I love what I do, and I love being crazy busy. As I shared with Kenny, I'm in my car having picked up co-op produce, and so it's just part of juggling life. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. Well, we'll start with that. What brought you to Utah?
Actually, my parents divorced when I was little, and I wanted to get to know my dad, and my dad lived in Utah, and so I got a phone call that said, come to Utah and I'll take you to the zoo. And so I was 19, and Utah was okay. And I'd finished school and, just really wanted to get to know my dad and my dad's family better. And so I stayed in Utah and married to Utah and have kids with Utah. And so I still go home to Idaho quite a bit, but live in Utah for now.
Awesome. Thank you. If you don't mind, we'll touch back on that in a little bit. But okay. What attracted you to being an entrepreneur, to being a business owner?
Actually, Kenny, my dad passed away. It'll be 18 years in September, and I had been invited to a I don't even know what it was called back then. It was about 20 years ago, and I'd been in, I think it was called a Success Night, and it was with Mary Kay Cosmetics, and my best friend said, I don't know if this is a good fit for you, but will you just come and be my guest? And I said, sure. And so we went to the Success Night, and my dad loved Rocky movies. And so the guest presenter that they had that night, her stage song was the Rocky song. And in that moment, Kenny, I just knew, Erica, this is the right place for you. You need to, you need to pay attention. You need to listen up, because this could be your opportunity to leave corporate America. And another part of why I left corporate America and pursued entrepreneur and fell in love with direct sales was that I have a little girl. She's not little anymore, but she was diagnosed with grand mal epilepsy. And so being in the corporate world 20 years ago, and maybe even still now, it's difficult to leave when your daughter needs you at home. And, obviously things need to be done in corporate America, but you need to leave, and you need to leave now. And I just really wanted an opportunity to work on my terms, on my schedule, and be able to be there for my kids. And so I continued, to follow down the passion road of direct sales, and I've explored many different companies, and I feel like I've just recently found my true passion for what I need to pursue, and I just have never gone back. I don't like to be bossed around, I think, Kenny. And so my husband kids around, he's like, the reason you don't live in corporate America is because you don't belong there. You don't like to be bossed around. You don't like to be told what to do, and you like doing things on your own terms. So that's really what turned me on to entrepreneurship.
So that's kind of how I am myself. I don't fit the mold of the 9-to-5, quote unquote.
Yep. I like to be up and at 'em by 6, and I like to be done by noon.
Yep. I like the flexibility, the control that you have.
Right.
Now you mentioned your kids and whatnot, and your daughter and stuff. You said certain circumstances have a role on some of your decisions, but what other impact do your your kids? How are they involved in your work? How does your work revolve around them? How do you kind of make it work? Do you just kind of, okay, mommy's at her office, I'm not available for 4 hours? How do you make that work for you and your family?
Well, Kenny, my baby is 17. You have heard me share this before, but probably the number two reason why I've stayed in direct sales and why I currently follow the passion that I do with fashion and accessories is that my 17-year-old, when I came into the company that I'm a part of, really very bluntly said, Mom, why can't you join the company, excuse me, that you literally sell the jewelry off your body when you're out with Dad? And she had a point. And so being in a jewelry and accessories opportunity, I have, I'm not yet very good at it, Kenny. I like to have control and I like to be OCD and perfectionist. So I could pass the reins a lot more to my children because like I said, my youngest is 17 and then I have a 19-year-old son who loves to, help with shipping and packing and getting orders together. So I could hand that off a lot more, but really for me, it's just the fun of it. It's not, yes, I'm on, excuse me, I'm on, Zoom calls and team calls and so forth. And there's a time and a place for that, but I really try to put that into my schedule while my kids are at work so that when they are home, I'm able to spend time with them. And because we're in the pandemic and my youngest has online school, I'm able to, help her with homework and things that she needs to get done before I dive into my own to-do list and my own calendar. So they don't do a whole lot of, they do, they're all very good at bringing in customers and helping me as far as referrals in my business, but I still have the reins as far as shipping and orders, getting orders together and so forth. So they don't do a whole lot of that, but they definitely do what I ask if it's something that I need done faster than I can get it done myself.
Awesome. You're able to make that work for you and your family. Hand things off where you feel is needed and take the reins where you feel is needed and wanted, whatever. Let's jump to mindset a little bit. You mentioned when you were a guest at Friends and something clicked, something said, pay attention. What was your mindset like before walking into that meeting, and where you started and kind of where you are now as far as like entrepreneurship versus corporate America?
Okay. So to take you back to that moment, that was 23 years ago in October. And it's crazy to think it was that long and I've been in direct sales that long. But for me, Kenny, it was I was a single mom at the time. I worked between 65 and 80-hour weeks. I worked for the media department of an online corporate company. And I didn't realize at the time that I wanted time freedom, that I wanted to be home with my kids and, take control of my time. But like I said before, it just sometimes, whether you want to call it your mindset, whether you want to say, that it's your higher power, maybe it's just something in your gut or in your heart that just says, hey, it's time for you to leave the opportunity, that is literally dragging you down and draining your energy. And I didn't realize that my job was doing that, but I'm certainly glad that, whatever force wanted to be reckoned with that night, and that I was open to the opportunity. You know, I think not everyone is always open to the opportunity of entrepreneurship, or, you know, being a part of direct sales company, or, you know, following your passion. You know, maybe it's to write a book, or to, you know, teach people how to be better financial managers of their money. Not everybody follows those passions. And I think it's super important to realize that it is your passion, and you're going to be a lot happier when you do decide to pursue it.
I like that. And I like how you said pursue it. You know, it's not just snap my fingers and here it is. If you wouldn't mind diving in, maybe like the first couple of years of after you left corporate America, you know, you said you like 60 to 80 hours at your job. Was it kind of the same? Was it, again, snap your fingers and all of a sudden you have all this time and money and you're your own boss and not a worry in the world? If you wouldn't mind, share a little bit of the first few years, whatever, of.
Okay, sure. So I actually, as I mentioned, I was in the media department. I was the only female in that media department. And I worked with the large part of my team was men, and I loved that. But when I left that company, I was given the opportunity to take my book of business that I had built those 7 years that I had been with that company with me. So coming into direct sales, Kenny, I really had a leg up. Most people would say nowadays, because I had a warm market to call and email and talk to in regards to cosmetics. So I certainly didn't work 80-hour weeks. I think I was still, you know, I was at least working the 40-hour week, especially with my young kids going to school, and I utilized my time wisely while they were in school in working my business so that I could still be there supporting them with homework and so forth. So, but I look back at it now, and I have several times over the years, and I'm very grateful that I had that warm market to, you know, give me a starting point to allow me to build a successful nest egg, if you will, just a really strong financial story that would, you know, later catapult me to other opportunities within other companies, but still have lasting friendships and a solid network of people that are still willing to, you know, refer people and, you know, give me good feedback in regards to what I do now.
So you had that preparation in place.
Yes.
Beforehand. That helped out significantly, it sounds like.
Yes, very much.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. What about like confidence? How was confidence between then and now? And, you know, what are some of the things that you do to help keep your confidence up and improve your confidence as well as mindset?
Well, you know, Kenny, I'll be very candid and I'll be very honest. I honestly look back at my experiences and my story in the beginning of my career in network marketing and in direct sales. And I have to tell you that I truly believe my success back then was just being naive, being willing to just do what everybody told me to do. The people that were having success, I hungered for that success. And I was very naive, but I was very willing to go to work. And through the changes of, you know, those of us that are entrepreneurs now and utilize opportunities like Facebook Live and you know, this opportunity tonight of doing a Zoom call. Back then, that wasn't heard of. You were really pounding the pavement, not necessarily going door to door, but you really relied on home parties and face-to-face connections, versus now we have so much technology at our fingertips and so much ability and opportunity to do like you and I are doing tonight, and just being able to connect to people, if you're willing to go out of the mold, to have a Facebook Live or a Zoom or a Messenger. It's so easy. FaceTime is just, at our fingertips. And back then I didn't have that, but I was hungry to be able to support my family. I never wanted to go back to corporate America. And I'm not saying that I never did, because I did. Shortly before meeting my husband, I did have an opportunity to go back to corporate America, and it was a good fit for the time frame that it needed to play into my life. But today, we, with so much technology at our fingertips, that back then, like I said, I think I was naive, and I was just hungry to learn. Now, my mindset has changed so much in the dreams and hopes and aspirations and vision that I have, not only for myself, but for my family. As I mentioned in the beginning, I'm a gram. I have a little granddaughter. She's almost 3. And even though she wasn't, I wanted to be older, let's just say that, Kenny, when my daughter planned, babies, I was like, no, I need to be this age. And I tell you, sometimes Heavenly Father doesn't do things according to your plan. And I'm certainly grateful for her. And so today, I work my business the way that I work my business, and have the mindset that I have, because I'm just determined. I'm just, I think I dream bigger. I know what I want, and I have goals and a timeline of when I want to achieve those goals. And I think that's what's different than where I was 20 years ago.
Thank you. Yeah. So you talked about dreaming bigger and stuff, and then you also mentioned being naive and being coachable. With a lot of coaches and mentors out there, and of course this isn't to throw anyone or say anything negative towards anyone, but what would you suggest or whatever for people seeking a mentor or a coach or someone to look up to better themselves? With so many options out there, what's something you would advise people or recommend they do?
When I have searched for mentors in my life, and when I've had coaches and business partners and just people that I wanted in my network, there's somebody famous that says, you are the equivalent of the 5 people that you hang out with. And I look back at the people I hung out with 20 years ago, Kenny, and I don't think there was anything wrong with those 5 people, but I certainly have different 5 people I hang out with nowadays. And so when I look for mentors and coaches and people that I want to help me move my business to the next level, I think it's important that you know what you want. And yes, it's great to know what they can help you with and how they can help you move forward. But I think it's extra important if you know where you want to go, the timeline you want to get there, and kind of like almost like a to-do list of expectations of what you might want in that coach or mentor. What is it that they have done? What are their accolades? What is their, I call it the famous list, but what is it that they have done in their life that attracts you to them, and why do you want to work with them? Or on the opposite end of the spectrum, because I think you've been experienced to this as I have, where you have a coach or mentor approach you and say, hey, I want to work with you and I charge this amount of money, and when can we get started? I think it's important to pause in that moment and say, wait a minute, what value and what opportunities can you give me by working with you? Make sure that you align with those things and that they're things that you want in your own end game, aside from just writing a check or charging your credit card, in hopes that they can help you with what you want to achieve.
Thank you. And I like how you mentioned, and I think from what I've experienced, a lot of people overlook, just defining that and being more clear on what you want will have a huge impact in and of itself. It'll put you so much further ahead than where you are, just in that simple act. So I like how you mentioned that, and I know from experience that I've done it, I've or not done it. I haven't been very clear sometimes, and I've heard from many people that I follow or that I have as coaches, mentors, whatever, have said some of the same thing. Just be very clear, define what you want, when you want. If it's a car, what pinstripe do you want? What kind of tires do you want? Be very clear on what you want. And the more clear you are, the more defined that goal will be, and those steps will become more clear to you as well, just in that simple step. And then you can more clearly define which path you want to take as far as mentorship and coaching to help get you to the next step or to the end goal. So thank you for bringing that up. I really appreciate that. So just a couple ending questions real quick, and then what is one of the biggest challenges you've had with being an entrepreneur?
Just one?
Or if you want to point out one or two.
I'm kidding. I think it's just the balance of it all. We've been talking this whole time on, making sure that your intention is clear and what your goals are, making sure that that's clear, that you have, positive intentions in your life. And I think one of the things that I personally struggle with the most, and I hope this isn't, too vulnerable for who we're going to share this with, but I think that a lot of us could probably say we get caught up in the comparison of my chapter 2 to your chapter 10. And for a long time, I compared people in the industry that I'm in, and because I've been in the industry but not in the niche that I have a passion in, I all the time I would tell my husband, it's not fair, I'm not so and so, or it's not fair, I don't have so much money in the bank, or it's not fair, this and this and this. But when I really sat down, Kenny, and said, okay, what does her chapter 2 look like to my chapter 2? And then when I was on an even playing field of comparing apples and apples, instead of trying to compare the coconut in Hawaii to, asparagus in Utah, then it became more able to cope with what was going on in my business and setting attainable goals. So many times in my life, I have gotten upset with myself because I can't swallow the elephant whole. I'm one of those big dreamers, and why can't I swallow that elephant whole? And so many of my mentors have said, Erica, it is required for you to take one bite at a time. You cannot possibly go from January to December, with the snap of your fingers. So it's setting those goals that are attainable, but realizing that your chapter 2 is not their chapter 10, and vice versa.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very easy to get caught up in that and hard to look past that, hard to see or to think about the work that they put in and the years that they spent. And so thank you. What would you say to people who are thinking of becoming an entrepreneur or just getting started in being an entrepreneur?
Well, I think the smartest advice I can give you is don't quit your day job. Unless your plan A is your plan B, C, and D. Where I have fallen short in my years of entrepreneurship is believing that plan B would always pick up my plan A. And by that, when I wasn't focused on my goal, and whether it was discouragement or comparison or all those things that we've talked about today, just make sure that your goal is just so clear and so laid out. Because not that I don't think that you can't push yourself if you were to just leave corporate America like I did and follow your goals, but definitely just make sure that your eye is on the goal, but that your goal is just so clear that if you decide to leave whatever job you have passion beyond measure that is going to carry you through the bad days, because there will be some.
Yes, that is very true. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Make sure you're very clear on that and have a plan and something to help push you through those hard times. So thank you for sharing that. And then one last question. If people wanted to reach out to you and ask you more questions or find out more about what you do, where would be a good place for them to find you?
So I'm on social media. My Facebook is just Erica Barney. It's a picture of me and my mom and my daughter for Mother's Day. You can certainly email me at theblingrevolution@outlook.com. And, Kenny, you're welcome to attach those links if need be. Connect with me. I'll get you, spelling. Sometimes people get caught up in the spelling of bling. Or, if need be, I'm more than happy to share my phone number, and you're welcome to text me or call me at any time.
Awesome. Thank you. And again, thank you, Erica, for being here and being part of Dreadnought Mondays. And we hope this was good information for everyone out there. And we'll see you next time.